Okay. Woo! Let's get some so I can see. Oh. BlaXit family, BlaXit family, BlaXit family. BlaXit family, BlaXit family, BlaXit family. Can you hear me? I'm doing a sound check to see if you can hear me, to make sure I've got an abaya dress on today, so I'm just trying to fix it. Okay, can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? BlaXit family, BlaXit family, BlaXit family. Can you hear me? Soul ablaze, you can hear me. Oh, good. That's very good. Thank you so much for joining BlaXit today. BlaXit family, BlaXit family, BlaXit family. Where are you? I hope you can see and hear me. Welcome to BlaXit. If you're new to BlaXit, BlaXit is a channel that is dedicated to your repatriation, relocation, thank you my love, back to your nation, back to Africa, okay? And we are broadcasting here from the wonderful Gambia. So Soul Blaze, welcome. Tammy Talking, welcome. Jeffrey, welcome. Yeah, hi and thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad you can hear me. Welcome to BlaXit. Welcome. You are welcome. You are welcome. For all my A1, can you close that door, please? For all my, sorry about the background noise. For all my A1 day ones, welcome to BlaXit. For all of you newbies, welcome to BlaXit and thank you for joining. I'm Nyancho Kajabi. I'm your host. I'm also the founder and the CEO of BlaXit. So welcome to BlaXit or BlaXit Group, okay? Welcome to BlaXit. Thank you for joining. I would appreciate some thumbs up. Thank you so much. Let's see who else is here. Okay, Anthony, welcome, welcome, welcome. Big up and one love to you. So big things are going. Listen, strange things are happening, happening, happening. Strange things are happening, happening, happening. Strange. Listen, let me tell you, there's a phenomenon. And I'm going to share about that with you. Today's a question and answer. I was given some questions that I have to answer. Some of them are a little bit personal, but I don't mind the ones that are talking about like health and that kind of thing. So I will answer those because some of them are about, you know, things relating to coming to Africa. And so I'm definitely going to answer them. So this week is definitely a bit of a question and answer mishmash, okay? But also, I want to talk about a phenomenon that's happening here at the moment. I'm getting tongue-tied, you hear me? I'm talking about a phenomenon that's happening at the moment, and I'm calling it the calling. I am calling it ding-a-ling-a-ling, school bell ring, knife and fight for... knife and fork, a fight for dumpling. Listen, I'm calling it the calling, okay? And the calling is because people are having radical dreams. People are on TikTok, people are on all X, you name it, all these different platforms, Instagram, YouTube, and they're talking about having these dreams where they're being called back home, where they've been told to leave. I don't know if you had the same dreams, but I had the same dreams. Before I came, when I was in England, right? I kept having these dreams, right? These really strange, repetitive dreams where I was being called back, you know, come back to Africa. I have to leave and I have to leave now. Yeah, it was like my ancestors were calling me. I don't know if anybody here has had a similar experience. And then you have this feeling of foreboding, like you need to obey. Like this is not just intuition. You get me? This is not just intuition. This is like a whole, like, I don't know. It's like something that is intrinsic within you. It's like your soul, your spirit is calling you. And so I was getting the dreams, but what was so radical is when my young son started to get them too. And I was just like off the bat one morning, like he woke up just crying and said, Mum, I want to go home. I don't want to be here anymore. Now, I don't know if any of you are having the same experience. Tell me in the chat if you are, okay? Tell me in the chat if you are. Now, I have a number of questions here that I must go through because I ask you all to send me questions. And so this week, I'm going to focus in on the questions that you're sending me because it's really important that I do ask, answer your questions. And so one of the questions that I was asked, I'm going to get to in a minute, but I must tell you that, there's a lot of things all over social media where people are coming up talking about their dreams, saying that they're having these dreams where they're being told to leave. There was one lady on TikTok, I think she's called Pineapple Vegan, and that was sent to me by Lovely Bones, yeah? And like I said, you're welcome to send me questions or information via the WhatsApp, okay, number, which you can text me on +220 240 5273 in advance. So I can talk about it. So Lovely Bones sent me this one, and this one is all about the phenomenon. She was asking me about the phenomenon and if I experienced it as well, because she said that she experienced it and she had the same dream before she repatriated, and that caused her to leave in 2022 and to repatriate. So what I'm saying is that I had the calling. I had the calling. Has anyone else in here had the calling? Is that Crone? Is that you telling me that you had the calling too? Yeah? Did you have the calling as well? Because I'm realizing that the more people I speak to are having a similar phenomenon. Anyway, this lady, vegan pineapple vegan, I think it's pineapple vegan, that Lovely Bone sent to me, like I said, and her question was, did I have any epiphanies? Did I have any dreams? Did I have any callings? Like, did I have any, like, almost like spiritual experiences before I came? And the answer is yes. And I've spoken about it before on BlaXit, but probably not for a really long time. But now it's becoming really evidential, and it's happening to a lot of people. Some people are calling it the Anunnaki calling. Some people are calling it, ancestors calling. Some people are calling it, God calling. It's a second Exodus. Everybody's calling it something else. Everybody's, saying it's something else, but people are experiencing it. And I'm not talking like just one or two. I'm talking thousands and thousands of people. It's becoming a phenomenon. So what do you think it is? I called it the calling, but what do you think it is? Do you think that there is something going to go down? Do you think something is happening and, our ancestors are warning us? If you like, your angels are warning you. If you like, God is warning you. What do you think it is? What do you think it is? Tell me in the comment section, what do you think this phenomenon is? So many people are talking about it. And you can go on YouTube and see. I mean, like I said, I think it's Pineapple Vegan. You can go and check her. I remember her one because it stood out to me because they were calling her at her door and she was saying that just to see what she was saying. She said that she had this dream, right? And that she had all her family together. It's a bit of a spoiler if you're going to look at it. But here you go. Yeah, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. So she had a family gathering, and it was like, she didn't know like what the celebration was, if it was like a birthday or something. Anyway, in her dream, that everybody was there. And then she said she has like a Ring camera, right, on her door. This is in her dream. And so the Ring camera was there on the door. And she tried to look to see who it was, but it was fast, she couldn't see. So they were bang, bang, banging on the door. So her husband went to the door. When her husband went to the door, she said that there was these black men, black, dark skin, really dark, like, dark as my abaya dress. And their skin was almost gleaming, she said. And their eyes like had like a copper and gold tint to it. Very unusual, she said. But their height is what really got to her. These people were like, she was saying they were near like 10 foot tall. They were incredibly tall. and they spoke, but they didn't move their lips. That they were speaking to them telepathically. I don't know if you've seen it. Yeah. Anyway, so so they basically. Oh, I'll tell you an embarrassing moment I had here. But anyway, so they were communicating with them telepathically, so they could like hear it in their mind. And they were saying to her, "You need to leave. You need to go now. You can come with us, and you can leave now. You understand?" And her husband was like having a million and one thoughts, because the thoughts, everyone was like connected in a telepathic loop. And so we didn't know what was happening, but they were saying, "You need to leave. You need to leave now. Okay, you can come with us, and we'll take you." But she couldn't remember exactly, where she went to in this dream. You understand? She didn't know. She was saying, she was laughing, saying, "People are going to think I'm mad, like I went to some spaceship or whatever." But, in all seriousness, she's not the only person to have them. Okay? She's not the only person to have a similar dream. I was having similar dreams before I came, and they were telling me I need to leave. I need to get out. I've now been living in Gambia in Africa for nearly 7 years. Okay, it will be 7 years in February, on February the 4th. Okay, so and I'm telling you, it's the best thing that I ever done, and I needed to get out. I really did. So I think it was my spirit saying, you've had enough of, the working yourself almost to death. Do you know what I mean? Of having no quality time with the children, just working to earn money, because that's basically what I was doing. I wasn't really having that quality time like I should have done. So in my dream now, my dream was a little bit different to hers. Like in my dream, I would dream that I was being carried, yeah? And I was being carried into like a circle. And in the middle of the circle was like this big fire, right? And around the circle were people dressed in like traditional clothing, and they were wearing, there was like drummers, around. And they were telling me that I have to join the circle. I need to rejoin the circle. I have to come back now, And there was always different variations, but of the same dream, until I realized, until it was like I was waking up with someone shouting in my ear saying, "Get ready to leave now. You need to leave now." And the thing is, I was watching all of, the conscious TV and stuff like that. And I was seeing how, they were talking about a planned pandemic, because you got to remember that I was planning and getting ready to leave from 2000. In 2019. Yeah, I left in 2019, February 4th. But I was having these dreams before then. That's why I knew I had to go. And then this, they were like they were showing me people dying and stuff like this. And I couldn't understand what they were showing me, because it wasn't until they started now guiding me, and then I was learning about a pandemic coming, and I said, "You know what, whether it's true or not, I want to get out." And the weirdest thing happened, right? Where I lived, they started to chemtrail some weird stuff in the sky, and loads of people got sick, and I was one of them. And I had this odd illness, which was like pneumonia, for nearly 4 months before I left. I was like taking inhalers, like, 4 times a day. I was on like special medication, my lungs, I didn't know what it was, but a lot of people, the hospitals were full. I don't know what they were doing. I know that there was like a NASA base that wasn't far from where I lived. And one time I actually saw a green glowing triangle craft in the sky. I actually saw a green, so I didn't know if they were spraying to maybe stop people from seeing whatever experimental, whether it was, I don't know if it was experimental, craft, or whether it was, craft from another planet. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? All I know is I saw a triangular green craft in the sky. Anyway, and I was thinking maybe they were smoking out the sky so that people couldn't see it. But I wasn't sure, But anyway, odd things started happening. I started to get what I don't know if people call it coincidences, or you know, but there seemed to be things that just kept happening. Like everything started to work in my favor to enable me to go. Like there were synchronicities like no one's business. There were signs like no one's business, like that I needed to get out and I needed to go. And it was just like I was having like helpers, you know. You might say God was helping me. You might say, you know, your supreme partners, you know, whatever you want to call it, the source, universe, divine parents. Do you understand? Allah, you know, Jesus, God, whatever. I was having like support, and I just felt like, you know, my ancestors were with me and guiding me through this, you know. So when she asked me that question, and I hope I'm answering it, is that yes, I did. I had the same experience. And I think those of you that are watching, those that are on here now, I think if you haven't had this experience, I think you will do. Yeah, I think you will. In the same way that I did, I think that you will have the same experience also. So I want you, when I say at the end of my programs, follow your dreams, follow your dreams, follow your dreams, please do. Now, I'm also going to address something. Someone mentioned to me as well that people are tagging onto my content with negative content, okay? Now, let me tell you something. They don't want you to come back to Africa, okay? They really don't. The powers that were do not want you to come to Africa. They want to have control of the land, and they want to have control of the resources, okay? They really do. I'm serious now. And, you know, this is why I'm calling you back. This is why I'm telling you, come and land bank, or come and land invest, come and own a piece of land. You know, I think the cheapest piece of land we have is like £784 for a 400 square meter piece of land. Do you understand? And also, I want you to know that I will be putting out a program to show you all of the wonderful things that have been happening in Bussorah. There's a lot of great things happening in Bussorah that also I want to share with you, okay? And great advancements. And also there is another estate which is going to be coming up near Bussorah in the Neto Sion, which is along the road, the highway that you use, not the highway, sorry, the road off of the highway that you use to go into the Bussorah, the BlaXit Kabilo in Bussorah, okay? So the BlaXit Kabilo, we called it BlaXit Eco Village, okay? And so it's coming up, and there will only be a few plots available, so make sure, and they will be reasonably priced, okay? And the location is excellent, okay? The location is really, really nice. It's really good. So I'm going to make sure that those prices are low for you as well, okay? Because that is what we do, okay? I'm a repatriational specialist. Before in England, you know, they called me a business developer, okay? But here I like to think that I've now honed it into a really good business model that I want to share with you. It's not for me to have, it's for me to share with you, okay? And so that's what I've done. So, you know, we help to enable you to buy your land. We help to enable you to build or to fence, to get your residency, to get your driving license, to help with your business, to help put your children into schools, if you're bringing over pets, etc., yada yada. You know, the rest of it is basically to help with your transition across, and we link with other people in different countries, okay? So I want to say greetings to Rob, yeah, and hi, come to Samoa. Oh wow, you're in Samoa? Yeah, let me know where you're from in the comment section. Please let me know where you're from in the comment section. So in answering the next question, someone asked me about my skincare of all things. So I'm not going to shy away. They said, Juliet, you know, your skin is incredibly clear, and you look younger than your age. What do you use? Okay, so I'm showing you my skin there. Okay, so I use two key ingredients that I use, which is my own microdermabrasion. And I would suggest that you use it as well, okay? Whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. We all need to have healthy skin, okay? And so I either use sea sand, yeah, or I use cornmeal, the coarse cornmeal, okay? Some of you might call it maize, okay? Or even semolina you can use, but semolina's got a slightly different texture. But you can use that and you mix it with honey, okay? Honey, and then you scrub your skin, okay? If you do that once a week, at least once a week, you'll find that your skin becomes really supple and also really clear. So someone asked me, okay, so I'm just doing a Q&A this week, okay? I'm doing a Q&A this week. So that's the reason why, okay? That helps keep your skin supple, helps keep your skin young looking. And it's also, I think, you know, honey is good for your skin also. So, hello there, Espacho. Hey, Princess Gambia, Nyancho. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Espacho. How are you? So that's the reason, and I've been doing it for years, and not just your face. You can use it on your whole body. And sea sand works really well. So next time you're at the beach, if you can collect a bottle of sea sand, yeah, and all you do is sieve out all of the shells and things, okay? And you can put the sea sand in boiling water just to cleanse it. Once it's dried off, okay, you mix it with the honey and you use it on your whole body to scrub your whole body. It gets rid of all of the dead skin particles, okay? So what I would suggest you do is you buy a big jar of honey, and if you can't get sand, you don't live near a beach, obviously Gambia, it's very easily available because there's always beaches. I don't know if you've been to Gambia before, but Gambia has some really lovely beaches, and it's coastal and it has beautiful rivers as well. It's a very beautiful place when you come to visit. So I want you to, obviously, like I said, don't forget to sieve out, you know, anything from the sand. If you buy cornmeal, then you don't have to, okay? You can just mix the cornmeal with the honey and then keep it in a jar. And then once a week, you give yourself a whole body scrub, okay? The other thing that I do is I use rosemary. I think in a couple of weeks ago, I was showing you that I was making my body products. So another thing that I do, people say about my hair, so is that I make a rosemary wash, and I also make rosemary with olive oil. So and with the olive oil, I also add in a small amount of coconut oil. I also add in a small amount of shea butter. And I also add in a small amount of olive oil and castor oil, okay? So the main olive oil, I put in the rosemary into a jar, which is sealed, and then I put it into a pot of boiling water, and I boil the rosemary in the oil, okay? So not just one or two sprigs, quite a few sprigs, just like what I was showing you before, quite a few sprigs. It's also not just good for your scalp, but it's also, you know, spiritually enhancing, they say, okay, to your aura. So once you've done that, once you've melted the shea butter, okay, so say you had like 4 tablespoons of shea butter, okay, and then let's say 1 jar. Let's say you had a jar like this. Okay, let's say you was making a jar like this. Up to here would be olive oil. Up to here would be coconut oil, okay? So here olive oil, here coconut oil, here you would add your shea butter, and then you add your castor oil. When you do that, your hair is so good and your hair grows really, really quickly, whether you're a man or a woman, because some people, they bald early, okay? So if you want to reduce your balding, it's also a good medicine for that, because rosemary stimulates the scalp and it also stimulates hair growth. So the rosemary that I put in water, I use for two things. I use one to moisturize my scalp. So that's rosemary, which I boil in water, I cool it off, and then I put it into a spritzer spray. I also use it as spritzer and freshener for my face. So it has two uses. It has two uses. So, and I would advise you to try this for a month and let me know if you see the difference to your skin. Try it. I just want you to try it, okay? So if I'm going too fast and you want me to repeat any of it, yeah, please let me know. Let me say hello to Ronald. How are you, Ronald? Let me also say hello to Willie as well. How are you? I'm well, thank you, darling. I'm well. So the spritzer for your hair and your face, well, it's not such a spritzer. It's a refresher for your skin. It's like a freshener for your skin, but also for your scalp. And it's a stimulator for your scalp. So I use rosemary. I do use different herbs at different times, but that's a consistent one that I've had really good results from. Okay, so that's one question. That was about my my skin and healthcare regime, because being healthy is important, and also drinking plenty of water, of course. Yeah, and ice water. Ice water with lime, remember? I showed you my zit drink. Lime, ice water with lime, apple cider, soda water, and natural sea salt or Himalayan or pink Himalayan sea salt. And a small bit of turmeric. Very good. First thing in the morning and last thing at night. Very, very good for your system. Very, very good. And in terms of measurements, you only need half a teaspoon of baking soda. Don't go over the top. You only need 2 teaspoons of the apple cider vinegar. And you only need a squirt of half a lemon and ice. Okay, and you just need some sprinklings of salt and just 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric. So I hope I've helped. I hope I've answered that. I hope I've answered that question. I hope you're satisfied. So don't forget about the scrub. The scrub is very good. Okay, the scrub is. Oh, let me just move this chair. Sorry. The scrub is very good. The scrub is awesome, and I've used it for a very, very long time, and it also assists with removing cellulite as well. So that's what I found in my experience. So the first question I had was about the calling. Did I have dreams, etc., leading up to my departure from England? And yes, I did. Like I said, I also had so many synchronicities, so I knew it was like the universe was just sending me so many synchronicities, so I knew that I was doing the right thing by leaving, and things were falling into place. things were falling into place. So it was like the third buyer to look at the house, and then it was 3 months before the house went through. I think it was probably a bit longer than that, but it was like something like that. And the house was on the market for like 3 weeks. So it was like 333. There was like a synchronicity of numbers and signs. So I would say to you, look out for numbers and signs. I do believe that we're being given numbers and signs. Okay. And I've literally come ahead, just like many others, as a messenger, if you like, as a pioneer, to tell you it's possible and you can come and have a great life here in Africa. I'm in the Gambia, which is the smiling west coast of Africa. It is very beautiful, and the people here are absolutely lovely. And how I ended up coming to Gambia, let me explain to you, is that I was actually supposed to be going to Ghana. But I planned to go to Gambia anyway because my grandmother had told me that our ancestors had come from Gambia. And I was going to a wedding in Ghana. A family friend was getting married. Anyway, it so happened that the airline went bust. So I didn't end up going. And so I thought, you know what, I'm still going to go to Africa. I'm going to go to Africa again. So let me just go to a different place instead. Maybe I'm not supposed to go there. I looked at it as like, maybe that's not such a good sign. So we decided to go to Gambia instead. And I thought, well, my family's from Gambia, so really I should be going there anyway. So that's when I first came to Gambia, and it had such a huge impact on me. The impact on me was phenomenal. I didn't want to leave. I was crying the living tears. I mean, I was sobbing. I did not want to leave. I did not want to go back to England. And that's when I realized I've arrived. That is when I realized I have arrived. I've arrived home. It was like the key fit the lock, and it turned. Everything felt right. And I felt like I belonged. For the first time in my life, even though I'd been to so many other countries before, so many different countries, even in Africa, it was the first time I felt like, yes, this is it. You understand? What a thing. When I arrived, I said, have most of the place look like Jamaica? Is a shame. I could not believe how much it looked like Jamaica. It reminded me so much of the Caribbean. And that was another thing that really shocked me, was seeing people who looked like my family members. That really, really freaked me out. I went because I was given some land in a place called, I can't pronounce it properly, so I won't say it. Anyway, I was given some land, okay, by a family, and they said to me, yes, we're giving you some land. Welcome back to Africa. And I was like, thank you so much. Now, this land is across the ferry. It's far. It's not the place that I would go to live, but definitely farm there. And so when I went there, right, he said, I need to introduce you to my dad. Okay, I really need to introduce you to my dad. This is why we're gifting you this, because we believe that you're our family, come back. Okay, so we're gifting you some land. Whatever land you want here, whatever position, it's yours. I thought, what? I'm always, sometimes when you're a giver, you find it difficult to be a receiver. Okay, you find it challenging to be a receiver, in fact, because sometimes when you're, especially if you're an overgiver, and sometimes I used to be that way, I'm not anymore, but at that stage in my life, I wasn't so much of a receiver, I was more of a giver. And so, you know, I humbly received it. And so that was like remarkable for me to say thank you, and yes, I will accept it. This gift of land. And so, hello, what's up? Everything's great. Everything's great. Yeah. Nice to see you, and I hope you're safe. Very safe, very safe. Thank you. Oh, that's another question, actually. I'm so glad you asked that, because that's another question on my list that was about safety. What number is that? Hang on. Safety. I think it's number 5. Hang on. Got a few questions that I'm going to answer today. So, welcome to your land, and you know, welcome home. So, anyway, I went into the room to meet his dad, and I was in shock. I was in shock. His dad was like the male version of me. It was like looking in a mirror at a male version of myself. His dad didn't even look old. It was bizarre, yeah? I nearly fell off the chair. I was like reaching for the chair. I was so busy staring at the man. I was patting away. I nearly fell on the floor. Like, I couldn't take my eyes off of him. He had my eyes. He had my nose, yeah? He had my complexion. He had my high cheekbones, but he had a beard, so I couldn't see his chin properly. But he had teeth, even like mine. And his son was laughing because he knew all along when he took me, I had to go for miles. I traveled for hours to get there. And I couldn't understand, why is this man taking me all this way far to this place for? Then when I sat down in front of his dad said to me, welcome home. He said to me, you are ancestrally connected to us, and we have a gift for you. I'm telling you, I had goosebumps. I had shivers up and down my spine. I had, listen, tears in my eyes. And it was just a remarkable experience. And then when his son had his daughter, he called his daughter Juliet. Now listen, even now I'm welling up, like I feel emotional. Just remembering and thinking about the, you know, the experience that I had. I can remember it like yesterday. And we went on a cart with a horse. And he said to me to choose wherever you want. And I chose the land, and I said to him, what I want to do is invest in your farming, okay, of the land. And so that's what I did. So that was like one of my experiences. I just wanted to share with you, like, it was just, it was, I don't know if you could call it, it was like divine intervention. Me coming here was like divine intervention, okay? It really was. Now, so someone asked me about how what was the experience? I've forgotten the question. But anyway, that is what I needed to share that. I needed to share that. So that was one of the remarkable experiences that I had, and why it's important for you to come and to visit the country and to realize that, you know, your roots are there, okay? Even if you didn't have a DNA test, that was something that DNA test couldn't have done for me. That was something that was a remarkable experience, okay? So I had another question, which was about, what's this? Can't understand my own handwriting. I should have left them in Affordability. Okay, sorry. So people were asking me, other than building a house, is there affordable housing? Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Rents are lower. Oh, thank you so much, advice. Thank you so much. Yeah. And so rents, people are talking about affordability, living here in affordability. So, how do I explain it? If, for example, you're going to rent outside of, let's say, popular, let's say the tourist area, okay? So let's say you come out further out into the combos, yeah? It's far cheaper. It's far, far cheaper to rent. And what you want to do is you want to rent like a local, okay? You want to rent like a local. So some rents are like, $200 a month, depending on the size of the property and the facilities that you might have, from $200 a month. Some can be $300, $400, depending on the size of the house. Now, if I remember rightly, when I first came, I rented a house which was in a tourist area. I did exactly the opposite of what I'm telling you. And it was in a place called Kaloli. And Kaloli is a lovely place, by the way. And it is very much a tourist area, though, I hasten to add. It was a good location. Oh, my goodness, guess what? I forgot to turn my phone on to Don't Disturb. And when I do it, sometimes I forget to turn it back on again. People say, I've been calling you. And I'm like, you did? I didn't see your call. So give me 1 second. Let me just put it on Don't Disturb because I see some stuff coming through. So give me 1 second. Oh, hang on. Don't Disturb. Where is it? There it is. Okay, sorry about that, peeps. Sorry about that. Okay, sorry about the disturbance there. So yes, you can. And then there are even other cheaper ways where some people have gone and lived with families, rented a room in a house because they didn't want to be on their own, and they've been put in with families. That has happened also. That has also been quite successful for some people who have come, particularly lone travellers, where they've been put in with selective families, okay? Now, I've done it myself. And on the most part, it was very, very successful. Very, very successful. Until I helped, a demon. And then it wasn't successful. So you have to be very vigilant, okay, and discerning. But you can definitely rent somewhere decent for between. It depends on where you want to be. It depends on where you want to be. But let's say between $200 to $500 a month. Now the $500 mark is more on the larger size compound, okay? So we are talking about many bedrooms, etc. The $200 a month is a smaller compound or the smaller apartment, okay? So I'm just, I'm in Gambia, yes. So those are like the kinds of prices. I was paying, I think it was about 400 for a 6-bedroom compound in Kaloli. Now that was in 2019. So I dare say that prices have gone up since. Someone also asked me about to list black-owned hotels. So what I'm going to do is compile a list. I don't want to just give you 1, 2, or 3, or 4. I want to compile a list to include the boutique hotels, to include the lodges, not just the main hotels. I want to include all of the facilities, also to include diaspora facilities as well that are here. So if you own a lodge or a guest house or a boutique hotel, or if you own some form of lodgings that you own here in Gambia and you're from the diaspora or from Gambia, or you have a house that you rent out, okay, and you'd like to be a host family, please get in contact with me. Our mod today is Caffrey. Thank you for being respectful this week. We did have a few issues last week, and I haven't even done housekeeping yet. So this is a much better week, better energy. So thank you. Okay, so our moderator is Caffrey. Caffrey, thank you. Caff. Thank you so much for moderating. Please put the number in the group, the text number. So if anyone you know or anyone has got lodgings here, that is black owned. And I'm going to stress black owned, owned by a Gambian or owned by a diasporan. Please text me so I can add them to the list. So what I might do is make a program on our main channel, Now, last week after the live, just slightly, I am off of off of subject. Okay, and if you want to live in the premium areas, and I'm talking about the exclusive areas like the Heights, Brewfoot Heights, yeah, where you have those exclusive designer houses, okay, then you are looking at paying more money. Okay, you are looking at paying more money. Okay, so I just thought I'd say that, just so that you know. And of course, the more appendages, like for example, swimming pool, etc. The price goes up. So think about that when you're planning to come. Okay, because not everybody wants to build, and some people want to buy. Now, obviously, you can still buy houses. Yeah, as you know, I stopped promoting houses at the newest city. Yeah, I stopped promoting houses there for a few years ago now. And I found some other great alternatives. Saul Fraser has got some beautiful houses and apartments that he is building. So I will contact Global Properties for you. They also do rentals. Okay, so Global Properties do rentals and they also do housing, and I do have an agreement with them. So I will call him to get the latest offering to include in this program that I'm going to make. So I just wanted to give you an idea with regards to rentals. Like I said, it can vary, but the further out you go, like Sukhothai, whatever, or other areas in the combos, the cheaper it gets. Okay, so, and also it depends on how basic you want to go as well. Okay, and obviously living with a family, renting a room is also quite reasonable. So I think I've covered that. The other question that I had that was given was about safety. Now, someone had mentioned to me, oh, there's been so much things on the internet saying this and that about people being this, people being that, whatever, and women and this and that. Do you feel safe? Absolutely safe. I really do. And I'm not saying naively safe. Let me just hasten to add, I'm not saying that I am naively safe. What I am saying is that, of course, just like anywhere that you live, you're vigilant. Okay? Of course I'm vigilant. But I feel safer here than I did in England. I feel safer here than I did when I was in America. I feel safer here than when I was, working in Europe. I feel safer here. That's the truth. That is, that is just how I feel. And I think part of that has got to do with the people as well, the environment. I think that because it's more of a community-based environment and people looking out for each other, and people ask me about jungle justice. I haven't really seen it to a large extent. I did see one time when they caught a thief, They caught a thief once, the police caught the thief. I did feel sorry for the thief, I really did. Because the police had no mercy on the thief, but at the same time, he shouldn't steal, He shouldn't steal. So with regard to safety, my advice to you would be If you have a home here or anywhere else, make sure that you still have secure windows and doors. And I, I know that here is very flexible, and a lot of people do not close their doors and stuff like that. Okay, because it's a different kind of living, it's a different kind of society. You can kind of knock someone's compound door. Not all people have watchmen or security. You just knock the gate and you can walk into the compound. Very friendly, very warm. But my advice just simply is that because you're coming from the diaspora, is definitely to urge on caution and lock your interior and exterior doors. And when you're going to bed, lock your windows, except for the like your bedroom window, because obviously you want air and everything to sleep with. But the rooms that you're not going to be in, then just lock them. Security systems, why not? There's no harm in getting a security system. It doesn't matter where you live. There's no harm in getting a dog or a security dog, no matter where you live. If you live in an area that that is high value, and you want to have a watchman like everybody else, then of course you can. Now it looks as though my battery's going low. I don't know how I charged my phone. Okay, let me quickly run. So in terms of personal safety, yeah, I do. I travel around all times of day and night, and I feel entirely safe. I do feel safe. They have police checkpoints and so on. So if you don't feel safe, you can always stop at a police checkpoint and tell them like, oh, look, I think someone's following me, or whatever the case may be. So you do have that system here. It's not like Europe where there's no one on the road. You're just driving. Like here, there are actually people. There are actually police there on the road. So I would suggest that. Okay, I would suggest that. The other thing that I was asked quickly, I think I mentioned housing, and I talked about the fact that you can rent quite reasonably depending on the standard and the quality that you want, and there are other options as well. And some people even stay in communes. Some people even build zinc houses on their land, or just build a boys' quarter on their land and stay in that boys' quarter. Okay, so in terms of building and affordability, yeah, you can still build a decent house. You can still build a decent house for $50,000. Okay, you still can. Okay, now cement has gone up or whatever, so it probably won't be the same size as you might have got before because you need more materials, but you can still build a decent house. Okay, you really can. And remember, I built a 5-bedroom house for that amount. So if I can do it, anyone can do it. And that's another thing I want to tell you. Yeah, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Okay, please just remember that. If I can even come to Africa and live here, and I can survive, and I can help others, yeah, you can come too. You can come too. We need people and the expertise here. So, do come and bring your expertise. And I will answer the other question about the hotels and whatever next week, because we're kind of running out of time. So, what was my, oh yeah. Someone asked what was my favorite thing, or my most embarrassing moment, I think. I saw that in the comment section. What was my most embarrassing moment? It was actually, I don't know which one to share. I've had a few. My most enjoyable time here is mango season because I love mangoes. And I love going to the beach. I love socializing. And in saying that, I put on the main channel. I was on the beach after the live last week. We went to the beach, to as you do here, socialize, meet friends, eat food, talk, catch up. So after the live, we went to the beach, and while we was on the beach, we heard this man, right? So we followed the music as you do, them not like me, and me not like them, I was just like, what's this? This guy's a DJ. So we just like quickly filmed him, and he was spitting out some lyrics, but I felt like I knew him, or that I knew these lyrics from before. And I don't know if it was me, right? Or if it was a track that was big in the 80s. So if you're an 80s baby and used to like reggae, right, and dancehall, then go and watch our main channel, please, I beg. And please tell me who the artist is and what the track is. Yeah, it's bugging me to no end. Someone told me to go onto some Shazam app or something, or what have you, but I don't have that app. So yeah, if you could help me, please go onto our main channel, watch the performer, watch the track, and if you know it, let me know. Please go into the text line and text me and tell me, because it is bugging me. It is really bugging me. What was the other question? What was the most embarrassing moment? Okay. So I don't know which one to tell you. Because one of them is really embarrassing. Really, really embarrassing. And I won't tell you the really, really embarrassing one, because I'll take shame and then you can tease me for the rest of my life. So I'll tell you a least embarrassing one. So listen, so I went out, right? I went out and I was working and I was looking for the next BlaXit estate for repatriation land. So I was with a group of people and who were taking me to meet some landowners, okay? And this land was a very large piece of land. So there was a group of people who came out from the compound and I was stood there. So there was one man who was wearing a suit. There was another man dressed in like traditional wear, I'd say. A very quite nondescript man. And then there was another man that was wearing casual clothes. Now, I directed all of my questions to the man in the suit. So I asked about the history of the land, and obviously he spoke some English and he had a funny expression on his face. But I was reading the room, you know, as you do, and I'm thinking, why is he looking at me like this? So I continued to ask him about the history of the land. I wanted to know, you know, the size of the land, the dimensions of the land, you know, blah, 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 blah. Just a lot of questions about the land. Anyway, he was looking at me. Anyway, to my right, I started to see the man who was in traditional clothing sort of shuffle a bit. And I thought, So the other guy that was standing there in the casual clothes, he turned around and he came across to me and he said to me, he's not the owner of the land. I says, huh? So he says, the man in the traditional clothes. Well, he didn't say the traditional clothes. He said, this gentleman here is the owner of the land. So I turned around to him and I said, I'm so sorry, but that is what you get for making assumptions about people based on how they look. Okay, now that came from me coming from Europe, okay, and being trained to see people in suits. The man that was in the suit was actually someone that was visiting him. That's why he didn't have a clue about what I was talking about. I was entirely embarrassed. I felt entirely shamed, and I apologized to the landowner and I said, I'm so sorry, I should have asked who is the landowner, or I should have asked a group of people that were with me who knew who the owner was, who left me there to talk, who found it quite amusing. Okay, they left me there to talk. They thought it quite amusing because I should have waited for the introductions. Instead, I jumped in because I was dépendance, as always, rushing, right? I jumped in, just assumed that this man in the suit was the owner of the land, while the owner of the land stood there quite annoyed, wondering why I was talking to his guest. I felt very embarrassed, you know. I really did. I felt so embarrassed. But it was a lesson for me. Never judge a book by the cover. Okay? Never judge a book by the cover, as they say. Okay? That is that is what happened. Okay? So that was my embarrassing moment. And well, I've had a few. I had one where I went out and I was having a lovely time. Listen, when you go out here, you can have a really nice time. And I like to dance. I like to, you know, enjoy myself. And so I was having, I think it was ginger ale. And I made them put like lemon twists in it and cherries, because I like glazed cherries. And so I'm gonna have to go. I think my guest is here. So I was really brucking it down, dancing, drinking my ginger ale, enjoying myself. And one man came over. He said, "Oh, you really like to dance. You really like to dance." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Do you always dance like this when you're drunk?" I said to him, "I don't drink." "This is ginger ale." He asked if he could buy me another drink. I said, "No, this is ginger ale. I don't drink." But because I must have been dancing, maybe my dancing must have looked really awkward. You know, coming from the UK, it was so different. They thought I was drunk. I was like, yeah, breaking it down, enjoying myself. Come in, Mohammed. Okay, listen, my guest is here, so I'm gonna have to go. How are you, Mohammed? I'm coming. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna have to love you and leave you, right? So, yeah, I learned to be a little bit more conservative than slide to the left, slide to the right, slide to the left, up to the right, up to the top. With my dancing, I learned to keep it a little bit calmer. I was like trying to do, you know, my version of break dancing or whatever. The music was so good though. I like went into full boogie mode, not realizing that, you know, the traditional dancing is really good and like they really do break it down, but I think I went a little bit far. And then when I finished, I looked around and people were standing around me clapping like in a circle. I felt so embarrassed. They were like, go. I felt so shame. Oh my gosh. Anyway, that was my embarrassing club moment, yeah, where you know, I forgot where I was for a minute. I just went mad into the music, but the beats, the music. There's some of the DJs here are amazing. So anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you, BlaXit family. I hope I've answered your question. This was Q&A week. Okay, we are now in December, so I will be launching the repatriation land sale. Yay! So keep your eye on the prize. Keep your eye on the prize and get your discounted land, okay? And come back to Africa. Come back to Africa. This is the place for you, okay? I love you. Remember, it's one Africa, one nation, okay? All of us, remember, look out for your dreams. Yeah, look out for the dreams. Are you getting the calling? Yeah, if you're getting the calling, don't ignore it, call me. If you don't ignore it, text me, okay? So if you're getting that calling, do not ignore it. And remember, also my love goes out to everybody in Jamaica, especially St. Elizabeth, which was badly hit by the hurricane. And if you would like to donate to help the people that have been afflicted there, I do have information regarding a GoFundMe that Linda sent to me. So Linda, I will put out your GoFundMe information as well next week. So listen, I have got someone here and I would like to say I love you so much and thank you for staying with me this Sunday. I love you, and remember to say to yourself in the mirror, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. And remember, yeah, no bother with them if they're not bother with you, okay? No bother with them if they're not bother with you. You're the prize. Okay? So I love you, BlaXit family, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.